Hello, Steve White, Trek 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I just did a video about how Jerry Ryan had said at a convention that she had been approached to do some sort of Captain 7 series after Star Trek Picard Season 3. And she said that she didn't really think it worked, it didn't really feel like her or a character, and obviously it didn't happen. And I didn't know, but that actually apparently supports a bigger rumour that had existed, which I'd heard part of. My sort of knowledge of Legacy, or what I'd heard, was that Paramount, Skydance, whoever, wanted to do a Legacy series, but they didn't want to do it with Kurtzman, and they didn't want to have too many Star Trek shows in production, so they were just waiting for a gap between productions and for Kurtzman's contract to end so they could basically take Star Trek back in-house and produce it themselves. And that's sort of probably where it's at now, but that's probably only because Jerry Ryan turned down the series that was proposed, because apparently what Kurtzman was doing was, either because he was just oblivious to the fact that the reason why Picard Season 3 did so well was because Terry Matalas took it over, and it was so far removed from what Kurtzman had been doing that it actually resembled Star Trek, and fans actually loved it. I don't know if it was in spite of that or because he didn't realise that he basically was proposing to do their own version of it, of course, to copy his Legacy idea and have a 7 series in place of Legacy. So, because they didn't want to, apparently Kurtzman didn't want to work with Matalas because he resented the fact that his sort of season of Picard did so much better than, Kurtzman's, and that people wanted, Terry Matalas' Star Trek and not Kurtzman's Star Trek. So he wanted to just take Terry's idea and all the goodwill and everything that was setting all that up, and create his own series for 7. So the fact that she said no is great, because had she said yes, because they probably assumed, we'll just go to her on her own, she'll be so happy to have her own TV series, she won't care about having any loyalty to Terry Matalas or the other cast members, and she'll just jump on it. But she didn't. She actually said no, and she's basically waiting for them to do a Legacy series with Terry Matalas, which is obviously the best way to go. So now, so they would have been perfectly happy, I think, to let Kurtzman do his own version, but now the Skydance people who are looking at it a bit differently, they're also happy to sit and wait for Kurtzman to, leave the sort of picture and to do the Terry Matalas version of Legacy, the actual Legacy show. Because right now he's working with Disney on the Vision TV series for, I think, Disney, Marvel, Disney, I don't know. I think they're all the same now. And I think the idea is just wait for him to finish that, and then the next project he can do is to come back and do Star Trek for them. And they're prepared to wait to get the show they want and to get a good show, rather than Kurtzman just throwing in some, post-Picard 7 series just to sort of try and, profit on that goodwill and everything that was set up by Star Trek Picard Season 3. So, yes, interesting. Like, I hadn't heard that part of it. I didn't know that they tried to sort of do it without Terry. Because there was talk of maybe they could do that, but it didn't seem to be something they were considering. But apparently they were, and they went as far as to approaching Jerry, and she fortunately had some integrity and loyalty and said, no, I'll wait to do Legacy, or if we don't do it, fine. I'm not going to do this. So happy to hear that, and hopefully, like I say, Kurtzman's contract will end. Hopefully they'll just let him go, and they will take Star Trek back in-house and just find people like Terry Matalas who know what they're doing, and just do Star Trek projects with them, and have different creators come in, and have some interesting Star Trek series come out, and have some variety and some growth and progress and moving forward in that, without sort of throwing Star Trek out and just sort of being stuck with this Abrams universe that Kurtzman was sort of prolonging and expanding, and just staying in that one place because he wanted to keep hold of it and he wanted to profit from it. Whereas the idea of Paramount having it back and just going to individual creative teams. Sorry, my camera died. I just don't want to start again, so I'm just going to go from there. But I think the idea of having Paramount take Star Trek in-house again and having the freedom to work with different creators on different series could actually give us that Star Trek that Kurtzman sort of promised, where we had a sort of a different type of Star Trek for each sort of section of the fan base and everything, and have it be consistent on one level, but also have some different style and flavour and that from different creatives and different teams and all that. And I think that could really work to expand Star Trek as a universe while keeping its core consistent. And I think fans, could really get into that and support that. So hopefully what happens is they let Kurtzman go and they go back to Matalas and they work with other people over time, and we get some interesting, unique Star Trek shows that at the core, are consistent with Star Trek's values and its canon and everything. So I'm feeling hopeful that ultimately Skydance has stepped back far enough to sort of see what they should do with Star Trek, and hopefully they'll just get away from Kurtzman and be able to do this without any real problems. So we'll see what they announce, we'll see what happens. I'm feeling optimistic about it ultimately, but we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of these rumours and what direction Star Trek should go in.